right, hello, my wonderful students. Today we are going to talk about how FDR is going to try to get us out of this economic mess. So the first essential question is, what are the 3 R's of the New Deal? And what does the Glass-Steagall Banking Act form? Okay, so we're going to start with the first New Deal first, because in fact there are 2 New Deal programs. So the first New Deal comes first, and it has 3 R's: relief, recovery, and reform. So you need to know what relief is, and I have a little poster to show you. Relief is money for people out of work. It is not necessarily a handout of cash. It could be providing jobs to people so they can pay for their bills, pay for their groceries over a period of time. Okay, that is relief, money for people out of work in the form of jobs. Recovery for businesses and the economy. So remember, we had some businesses go under during the Great Depression. Recovery is for businesses and the economy to bounce back up, because we need businesses thriving again. And the last one is reform, because remember, the banks were closing on us all the time, and we had the bank runs. So reform is to change the business practices of economic institutions such as banks, so that now they protect us and don't take our money. So we're going to start with Glass-Steagall Banking Act, which would be a reform, because it's about the banks. Okay, banks down here. So separated commercial and investment banking. So now, just having a checking account or a savings account, you would have a commercial bank, whereas an investment banking institution deals largely in wealth management, meaning you have a lot of money and you're investing it in stocks and bonds, etc. Also, we have the FDIC, which frankly I think is the most important thing on this list. Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and it provides government insurance for bank deposits. I wonder if you've ever seen this before. When you walk into a bank, it's usually on the door, the glass door as you're walking in. FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So it is insurance for your deposits. Here today, it is $250,000 in insurance. So you put up to $250,000 in, and they will cover that $250,000 if for some reason the bank has to close. So you will get your money back up to $250,000. Remember, a lot of these folks during the Depression had lost all their money through the bank runs. Also, very, very wealthy people will spread their money out over several banks, and this is why, because they're only insured up to $250,000. Nevertheless, some people are not going to trust banks regardless of what they do. But this is a way for the government to try to gain back the people's trust and get them to put their money back in the bank. Quick story. So my husband often does estates. And when someone dies and they don't have any family or any family that is local, then he and his business partner will do the estate of this dead person. Most of the time, these people are very poor, so there's not a whole lot. They do get a percentage, my husband and his partner, because they're doing all the work. But normally, they're not making a whole lot of money because the people don't have a lot. There was an exception. So he, in the last year, got an estate. They went out to the house. The man had died in the house, and no one knew it for like 2 weeks. So the entire house had to be cleaned, and etc. The man was a hoarder, so that was an issue, and I won't even go into that. But basically, they found safe deposit box keys. And they also found, when they went, it was like 5 different banks, 2 of which weren't even in this state. When they went to the banks, they found in the safe deposit box notes for money that he had put in the bank. And so they later found out that he had roughly about $2.5 million stored in these 5 banks. or 6. I don't remember how many it was, but basically what he had done is taken around $250,000 and put it in each of the banks. Okay, so the numbers of banks might be off, but basically he just spread it out amongst banks, and his money was insured. So that's an interesting story. So that's what people do if they have a lot of money. Not that I would know. All right, SEC, Security and Exchange Commission, they regulate the stock market and they limit speculation. So the SEC is in place because remember, we had people buying on margin, people speculating in the market prior to the Great Depression. This is going to basically put an end to that. And now if you buy a stock, you pay the whole price for it, which is how it should be. So the SEC kind of watches the stock market and makes sure that everything's above board. PWA, Public Works Administration, they are going to build roads, build bridges, build dams, and provide jobs to people to get them to build these things. And this is a great example of relief because it's a job for people who are out of work to build these roads or bridges or whatever is needed to repair things, infrastructure. Public Works Administration. And I'm pretty sure, here's another FDIC. I think this is funny. I'm sorry, I'm going backwards. Bart Simpson, see if you get this joke. I'm not an FDIC insured bank. Do you get it? Okay. And here is SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, today that watches over the stock exchange. And now, and now we're caught up to PWA, building roads, bridges. This is a really cool graphic of the United States and all the things that are built during this time period, such as the Hoover Dam, etc. Yes, named after President Hoover that didn't really get us out of this. Okay, CWA, Civil Works Administration, they're going to hire workers for temporary construction projects, things that are needed in the moment, Civil Works. And TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, is unique. They're going to hire workers in poor, this is Tennessee Valley, not TV like television, poor Tennessee Valley, to operate power plants and bring electricity to this impoverished Appalachian area, control flooding because that became a problem because of the Tennessee River. And I have some pictures of that. Here's a CWA. I said temporary construction project. So here's some guys working for the CWA. I'm sorry. And then TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority. This shows you how they're using water to provide electricity, hydroelectric power to the areas of Appalachia, which is Tennessee. Okay, lots of very, very poor people out there, especially during this time. Okay, so that's that. Next thing is CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps. So the Civilian Conservation Corps is going to employ young men in forestry jobs. So the idea was, hey, let's get these 17 and 18-year-olds out of the home and get them to start working, and they can therefore provide for their family and have them do lumbering jobs and etc. Here's a picture of the CCC. So young men working in forestry positions, doing their part and getting paid for that. Okay, so that was good. AAA, Agriculture Adjustment Act, is going to say this. It says prices for farm goods were too low because farmers were growing too much food. Now, not in the Dust Belt region because they couldn't grow anything, but elsewhere. Remember the Roaring Twenties, and I said they had a lot of crops out in the field. Then October 29, 1929 hit, and they had to lay off their employees. They lost everything. They couldn't actually afford to harvest the crops. So this is the government would pay farmers not to grow certain things, not to have certain livestock, believe it or not. This is based on supply and demand, okay? So the idea was you cannot have too much because it drives the price down very low, if that makes sense. And we needed farm prices to go up. So what they needed to do was tell farmers, just don't grow any of this, this, or this for a while. We will pay you, the government will pay you to eat, so you can survive. And then we will start telling you what to grow and how much of it to grow so we can regulate this issue of supply and demand. When we have the correct supply, then we can feed the demand. Okay? All right, and a good picture of that is right here, which is an AAA poster. America has plenty of food for everyone. And this is encouraging people to slow down on how much they were producing, farmers. Okay, and then last is NRA, which is not National Rifle Association. Do not confuse it. If you choose this one for your project, make sure that you don't put National Rifle Association or its logo. This is National Recovery Administration. And remember, that was one of our things, recovery. And it said for businesses and to help the economy. So this allowed businesses and the government to set rules on manufacturing so we could have factories producing again, maybe even give some of these factories some money to get started and get them once again back live and working. Okay, here is National Recovery Administration, America's answer, production. So get these people back in the factories, get them to work again, and get the factories producing again was the answer, production. Okay? All right, so those are the notes. I'm going to go back to the essential questions. What are the 3 R's of the first New Deal? Right here they are: relief, recovery, and reform. Relief for people, recovery for businesses, reform for banks. What was the Glass-Steagall, what did the Glass-Steagall Banking Act form? It formed the FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which now insures your money for up to $250,000. Okay, go back and write your summary, and I will see you guys later.